Welcome everyone back to another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video. My name is DFree. Here today in this video, we were going to go ahead and do a few things. We're going to go ahead and talk about potentially the next LR that should be coming, because typically it seems like we get them on a monthly basis, at least one per month, especially when it comes to the summonables. They typically come out at least once per month again. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about a lot of different things that kind of lead me to the way that I think about this all. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the physical Kid Buu Extreme Z Awaken. We're going to talk about the Buuhan event that's coming out and all that stuff. So anyways, hope you guys enjoy. Subscribe if you're new. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed today's video. And otherwise, feel free to join into the conversation at any point down below in the comments. Feel free to join in, because again, this is not a monologue. I want to hear from you guys and what you guys think about it. So I guess it's technically a monologue for now. So let's go ahead and take a look here. So to begin, I just have a whole bunch of Buu characters up, but I want to backtrack, because what I really want to do is I want to go all the way over here. I had a couple of tabs open initially, and one of the things that I wanted to point out is the most recent, aside from the Goku and Frieza LR, the most recent LR is Summonable Cell. So a lot, again, most recent summonable LR, because I mean, there's like, you know, Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 in there, whatever. But a lot of times what they do is when it comes to these characters, they come out with a whole theme around them. So the time that Cell came out, we had a whole lot of Android stuff on. And when these characters just came out, Goku and Frieza, we have the full banner for them. We have all this Tournament of Power events going on right now. Jiren Extreme Z Awaken battle, like Extreme Z battle, I guess, because there's no Awaken. All these different things, the game has transitioned into being that type of scene, right? So when this Trunks came out right here, we had the future Gohan and a few other things. Now, of course, there are going to be other scenarios, but again, I just wanted to paint a picture for what's happening right here. So a lot of times they do that, and we have these scenarios where a bunch of this stuff kind of just blends in together as a theme. So taking that into consideration, you know, we're going to move into getting the physical Kid Buu Extreme Z Awaken apparently sometime in October. Now, this is a very, very old unit you guys should have, but I couldn't find the actual, like, you know, news announcement, but trust me, it's coming. This is the thing. So physical Kid Buu is going to be awakening sometime next month. We don't know if it's going to be early in the month or later in the month. Typically, Extreme Z Awaken events go for a while, but I think Jiren's ends in the beginning of the month, so like stuff like that, right? So that's a thing. Moving on, courtesy of Kawaii, we do also have our first look, and of course this came out like last week, a week ago, a week and a half. We had our first look at the Super Buu that should be coming into the game, and of course the fact that the Ssr Majin Buu will also be awakening, and there's going to be a Hercule that comes out alongside him as well. I'll pull that up in a moment. But again, this new Super Buu is coming out. He's an Extreme STR type. He's going to be a transforming unit. He goes through the phases. He goes through Piccolo's transform. He goes through the Gotenks one, and then he goes through the Gohan one. Ultimately, he's going to be like Goku and Frieza. We don't know the exact conditions for like how he will transform, but ultimately that is what's going to happen with this unit. So taking that into consideration, again, the theme has built up. We have Majin Buu-centric events already being announced right now. One could assume that there would also be more, maybe a story event. I don't think we have any story event that pertains particularly to the Buu saga in general, so maybe we get something like that. I know a lot of free-to-play players would love that, especially, you know, myself included, especially the whales too, because trust me, we like free stuff too. So that's a thing, right? So we're getting this whole scenario set up. And also another thing I wanted to point out, if you did not know, this guy's leader skill is the Enhanced Transformation category, which would feature otherwise characters that have mastered or perfected their transformations, right? So that could be Vegeta, you know, well, he says transcended and perfected. So like those types of things. So a character that pushed their limits and got to a new form, or like a character that has perfected their form. Like, for example, perfected a form would be like the Super Saiyan 1s preparing for the Cell Saga, you know, Goku and Gohan. Like, they perfected that form. They reached that higher grade of Super Saiyan that were able to finish it off, mastered the form. And then, of course, characters that achieved a brand new form would be a character like Ultra Instinct, would be a character like Vegeta Evolution, like he has listed here, Perfect Cell. We have the Majin Buu, because, of course, he is going to be the leader for this category. So, like, to me, this kind of transitions into making me think about full power, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of blur between, or it's going to be a lot of the same thing, but otherwise, this could be like entirely different thing. So again, I just wanted to point that out for you guys as a little side stop in the video. So when we scroll down here again, Ssr Majin Buu will be awakening, and apparently we're getting our first summonable Ssr Hercule. Again, first summonable Ssr Hercule, and that art is A1. So again, the whole theme is set up. If you want to check out a video talking about all that stuff and where I go over this in a little bit more detail, my reasoning behind the category and all that, this video will be in the description for you guys. But moving on over here. So back to where we were, right? We have the theme, we have the LRs. Now, he's going to be, the main leader is going to be an STR type. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky because they could do one of two things with this unit that we're going to talk about the LR. They could either produce an LR that can be on this team, or in general, right? And it probably will end up being on the category, but just bear with me. They could produce an LR that is made to go alongside the Buu units, right? Because we have a lot of Majin Buu units. They could also produce an LR that would fit into just the general category, but doesn't fit the Majin Buu theme. For example, a new Perfect Cell, like I was just talking about. You know, he should be in the category. They're not going to drop another Perfect Cell, but again, he wouldn't be a Buu unit, but he would be in Buu's category. So they could do one of those two things. Now, if we transition over here to take a look at the Legendary Election, I found this list all crossed out over on the Dokkan Wiki, so shout out to the Wiki as well. But Super Saiyan 4 Goku has not come out. Technically, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks hasn't come out. It's been crossed off because of LR Goten and Trunks technically going into Super Saiyan 3. Hasn't come out yet. Super Saiyan Blue Vegito has Future Trunks. There's the AGL one that's come out since. Fusion Zamasu's crossed off, even though he shouldn't be because that technically hasn't come out, but he's crossed off for the Goku Black and Zamasu. There is no Kid Buu, so that's something to consider. Metacooler Army, that has come out recently. Golden Frieza does not have an LR yet. I do not see this one. I don't know what it is. Team Bardock, Great Saiyan Man, Cell Jr. Like, these are cards that have come out. Team Bardock is a little bit sketchy because they're in the super attack. It's just not, it's just a solo card though. You know, it's not his whole team, so maybe we still get that, and maybe that one doesn't get crossed off right now. But again, shout out to the Krillin, man. So again, these are all cards that can come out. The ones that are not crossed off. So Ultimate Gohan and Kid Buu are the two that fit thematically with the Buu Saga characters in general. So to me, if we're looking at this, we would look at those two characters, and that's where I'm going to transition from here. So I personally, I think it would be a major dick kick, right? If they were to Extreme Z Awaken the physical Kid Buu, then immediately turn around and produce a LR Kid Buu. Because we already have enough Kid Buus in the game, first and foremost. Let me go ahead and go right back to where I was when I was looking at all the Majin characters in general. We already have enough Kid Buus, and it just gets increasingly harder to use those characters when we produce more and more. So if I come over to the Majin Link, if they were to produce another Kid Buu, I mean, we're looking at like, oh, Kid Buu, he's already unusable. In all seriousness, when this character gets an Extreme Z Awaken, his passive is already so disgustingly good, 50%. This might change the game, like literally, like this type of support passive, like if this sees any sort of increase from 50 to even like 55, you know, he is already the best statistical support unit in the game. So, and he has been like for a long time, like he was so ahead of his time, right? His main issue is right here. So if they change this from being anywhere like 50% or above, this guy is eating. He is on every team you ever make, and he just stomps all over the Int one just because of the average amount of damage added to the rotation, despite the fact that the Int one has a little bit more utility because he can actually hit hard, he can heal, which they might add a heal effect to this guy, and things like that. So again, we have the Int one, who's still amazing. We have AGL, who I admit needs an awakening. He's really, really old. He was really good, but he's old now. We have Physical, and then we also have the Tech one that Dokkan awakens technically. So like, we have enough Kid Buus. I would not like that. But Ultimate Gohan is an interesting choice because when it comes to Buuhan, Ultimate Gohan and Buuhan should link together very, very well, right? So if I take a look at the character right now, and we take a look at the other characters that he would transform into, just really quick, I'm going to bounce open a couple of these other Super Buu variants. So we have the Gotenks one and we have the Piccolo one. So if we open these ones up and then we go back over to Buuhan, one thing you'll notice is that this unit will be probably more like Goku, and his links will change very often. So over here we have Over in a Flash, no shocking speed or things like that. This variation would not link ultimately very well with Gohan. Natural Super Buu, by the way, probably wouldn't have shocking speed. He could, but that would be nice because Gohans always get shocking speed if we get an LR Gohan, again, summonable. This one, again, doesn't have anything that Gohan would really, really link well with. He might have Brainiacs, otherwise he is not going to eat too much with. Again, not using this specific character, but the actual Buu here, I'm assuming that they would have pretty much the same links as the older versions of those cards, right? So again, here's Buuhan though, but Buuhan would link very, very well with the Gohan, of course, because he's Gohan, right? So they would both link very well. So that would be something I would like to see if it was just between those two. But before we get out of here, right, I wanted to give you guys a couple more options. So I also had opened up all of the characters from the Buu Saga, assuming that, again, they continued the theme of having just Majin Buu Saga characters in general, which another thing about this, too, is that, and just keep in mind, any character that is from that era, is going to enhance the Majin Buu Saga category a bit as well. So if you want to also consider how good they would be on that team, you can as well, where they're around more Ultimate Gohans or things of that nature that maybe they link well with as well. And of course more Majin Buu type units in general, because that's the only saga that character is really from. So we take a look at it, feel free to pause, but a couple of things that caught my attention were, when we come back to the LR list, really quickly, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of setup here. When we come back to the LR list, another thing that we saw as a commonality, a theme, is there are a lot of LRs that are duo LRs. Now, I've done a couple videos on it because I think it's incredibly fun, actually. We have Tien and Chaozu, Goten and Trunks, Goku Frieza, Goku Vegeta again. We have LR Beerus and Whis. We have all these cards. And then the villains, they really don't do that. It's not very prominent, but we could get a villain thing like that as well, where we get like Majin Buu and Babidi, or Babidi and Dabura, or they can do the thing that villains actually do a lot more and squad up, legit. They can, you see we have the Metacooler in his core. We also have Cell and Cell Juniors. Like, they squad up, villains squad up for real. So like, they could do something like that, the Ginyu Force variants, you know? Well, what if we get something like Babidi, Dabura, Yakon, and friggin' like, you know, what's his face? Pui Pui, like things like that. You could really just get out there with the types of characters you can do. Another thing that they could potentially do would be like the Gohan card, like I was talking about. Maybe it's Gohan and Kibito Kai, or like Kibito and in the Supreme Kai. You know, things of that nature, whether before they're fused or whatever. You know, we can get something like that as well. So I don't know in particular which way they're going to go, but I do think that it's interesting that we do have all of these different avenues that they could potentially go. That's why I said this was just going to be a video discussion. So I provided the evidence. We're going to be going into a Majin Buu-centric type event. They could, again, potentially stay in that theme, produce a full Majin character, a character from the Majin Buu saga in general, like a Gohan, who also, again, is on the Legendary Election list alongside a Kid Buu. Kid Buu, to me, is a worst-case scenario because you're going to awaken one. There's already another really powerful Int one, and then there will be 3 really powerful ones, and they'll all have the same name probably, and it's going to be really bad. Hopefully, if they do produce an LR Kid Buu, he has a different name, but I do think Kid Buu is deserving of an LR, but again, I digress. So I presented the information. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you for joining today's video. Subscribe if you were new for more content. Leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Share the video out with your friends as well. And, you know, get the conversation going. Have an awesome day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.